Alright, what's up guys, this is Zeus at Atomic Maniac Productions. The first video I've made in quite a while. We're doing bike walkarounds again. It's been a long gap in time since I've made any, and I got quite a few bikes since then, and even a bunch of bikes I didn't do back then. So I just got this one recently from my uncle. I tried doing some research on it, and the only thing I can find is it's the same frame as the Ferrari limited editions, and there's two other ones I know for sure, but only two of them actually appear on Colnago's website, or any magazines or anything I can find on them. Basically the only thing you can find is if you look up Colnago and then Carbonissimo right there, and that's the only way to find it. So what I did that my uncle did differently, so I added the Selle SMP TRK seat, and then Raceface flats. I want to say he had the Look clipless pedals on them, and I got the clipless shoes as well, but it's too many stray dogs and too many cars not paying attention to be able to ride clipless. So we'll go ahead and get started. So the whole bike is SRAM force. So the rear brake is SRAM force, the cassette SRAM force, the rear derailleur is SRAM force, the front crankset is SRAM force, the chain of course, the front brake, and then it's the brake and shifter, and then the front brake handle itself, and it is that that's where it's the upshift and all the way to down. No, sorry. It's just one to upshift all the way to downshift. So you barely, barely click it. So, but right now it's in the smallest gear, so it's gonna be real unhappy when I mess with it in a second. But so the whole bike frame is carbon. It's got Salsa seat post clamp, Colnago seat post, Bontrager Sport stem, and then the grips he had on it, I want to say they were lizard skin. Unfortunately, the only shop close to me is actually a Trek shop, so these are Bontrager brand new grips for it. It doesn't say, I forget, there's no brand on the handlebars, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be either Colnago as well. Oh no, here we go. Full control, no torsion, no slip treatment, brake levers, sept. Yeah, I'm not sure what brand. I'm sure it's underneath the tape. And then this is actually Campagnolo, and I want to say the whole headset's probably Campagnolo, but there's really no telling. Most likely because the cap is, the whole thing is going to be. So it's really a fun bike. I really enjoy it. It's my first 1x11. It's not slow by any means, and I had Bontrager bottle cages. I took those off. They were plastic. I want to try and find like Campagnolo or Colnago carbon fiber ones. And then so the rims are the Mavic, I don't know how you say it, but Kysrium Elite, or you just, maybe the K is silent and it's Kysrium Elite. Either way, both rims are the same, and then both tires are the Mavic Vision Pros, or Wakision Pro, excuse me, PowerLink. And the tires are pretty worn. I did order new tires for it. Unfortunately, they were stolen, and I did get a refund, but I have to buy new ones, get them reordered. So it's been a little interesting. As far as the flats go, I don't mind them. It's nice. I think that they're nylon and they're not heavy. They actually work really well, and I haven't had any problems with them. I'm going to try them with I have various pairs of shoes that I got from my uncle as well. I'm going to try those on the flats. And recently I bought the Adidas 510s, trying those out because my regular shoes kept getting destroyed on my other bikes that have metal spikes. But I'm actually kind of leaning more towards these nylon ones so far. But they're super light, super fun. Let's see, so let's make sure. No, so the front chain is actually wolf tooth, but the crank arm is force. So it takes a lot to get used to the shifter, especially if you're used to, you know, riding any other bike that doesn't have shifters like this at all. But it is interesting. Maybe someday, if I find more info on it. It seems to be a pretty rare frame, considering how the Ferrari one is super rare. The other Ferrari, because it's Ferrari red, Ferrari black, those are both very rare. And then the third one that I know of, I forget what it looked like, but I've seen it. And if you just Google 2003 Colnago Carbonissimo, there's a lot of links to Japanese and Chinese and South Korean sellers that seem to have some few pictures of them. Some, you know, they'll have Dura Ace components, and they'll have our Campagnolo records. So that's something to consider in the future if I want to leave the Sram Force 1x11s and get an older Campagnolo or older Dura Ace. Because it'd kind of be a little bit harder for me to afford, you know, a 1x11 Dura Ace or 1x11 Campagnolo unless they're an insanely good deal. And I got super lucky, so which isn't that likely. Go ahead and show the front logo is absolutely beautiful with the flag. And even if it's not a super rare, it's still a super cool bike, because even the frame, you know, all these frames that year were made at the same factory as Ferrari, is my understanding. So I could be wrong, but I don't think so. And unfortunately, it does have a few scratches, but I talked to a few people, and the consensus seems to be to put clear nail polish. So we'll give that a try and see how that works to prevent water and other excessive dirt from getting in there. So, well, that'll be it. So stay tuned. Next week there'll be another bike walk around until I run out of bikes. So, and then eventually we'll do another. Here's my massive collection with my buddy's massive collection, all the way to our oldest, which recently I just got a 1988 Trek 2500. So that's our new oldest. So thanks for watching. If you need to know any specs, I can go ahead and throw them in the comment section below, so feel free to ask. Or if you know anything about the frame, except for what I could find, asking the various Colnago groups and my own research, that would be helpful as well. So